everyone, I'm Ian McCarthy and welcome back to the Lifting for Life Q&A series. Today I'd like to talk to you about how to go about recomping, given I've talked a lot about recomping recently, but I haven't explained how to actually do it. And the reason why I haven't done that is because the recommendations that will allow someone who's in a position to recomp in the first place to actually recomp are very context dependent, and thus it's difficult to give good general recommendations, but that's what I'm going to attempt to do with the remainder of this video. So first of all, I would recommend that you get sufficient high-quality protein each day. I think a relatively uncontroversial minimum threshold in this context is 1.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day from mostly high-quality sources. Additionally, given the literature I've seen and my own experience, I would recommend roughly evenly distributing that over 4 to 6 meals per day with the goal of roughly maximizing the muscle protein that is synthesized as a result of the ingestion of that dietary protein. Additionally, I would recommend that you experiment with things like the quantity of carbs that you ingest pre-workout, the time between your pre-workout meal and when you train, etc., with the goal of ultimately eating in a way which allows you to maintain a high level of performance consistently. So again, simply experiment, find that which clearly doesn't work, exclude that, find that which works, push more in that direction, and endeavor for continuous improvement in that area. Third, if you're the person who goes over the top with free meals and cheat meals, that's something which can do a huge amount of damage in terms of creating an excessive energy surplus in the context of a bulk and ultimately resulting in you gaining excess fat. Interestingly, it's really not that hard to have a diet which is good most of the time, but 2 or 3 or 4 big, crazy, free or cheat meals can create a massively excessive surplus. So this is a simple but not necessarily easy fix. Pull back on that significantly. It doesn't necessarily mean getting rid of that. But if it's 4 meals a week, you might want to turn that into 2. If it's 2, you might want to turn it into 1, etc. And once again, see how that works and adjust based on the results. Moving now to training. I think high-frequency training is tremendously undervalued in this area. I think there are a lot of folks who do 1 time a week frequency, they train each muscle every 5 days, maybe even twice a week, and they're missing out on a lot of, first of all, opportunities to elevate muscle protein synthesis, but even if you don't perceive that as inherently valuable, they're missing out on a lot of additional quality volume. So I think that for folks in this position of don't really want to bulk, don't really want to cut, they feel like they have good reasons to not bulk and not cut, but they want to gain muscle and they want to lose fat, I think they can improve their diet and push training frequency and training volume up, still accounting for recovery. So as a general recommendation, if you strongly desire to improve a body part, I regard now 3 times a week frequency as a minimum, all the way up to 7 times a week frequency, once again, still being cognizant of your recovery ability. Furthermore, cardio. I think cardio is undervalued in this area. I think it's very popular to hate on cardio in the fitness industry, and I think that's really silly, given it is something which can benefit your physical and psychological health, and it additionally just burns calories. And I think all 3 of those are good reasons to include cardio in your protocol, and I think a really safe starting point is the daily walk approach, which I've talked a lot about on social media. If you're going from nothing to 10 minutes a day of walking outside every single day, that can make a significant difference. If you're already doing that and you feel like you'd benefit from more, you can certainly experiment with that. Additionally, sleep. I don't know how much I even need to say about this, but fascinatingly, I think sleep is blatantly, obviously very beneficial and nonetheless undervalued. So what you need to do is figure out how much sleep you are able to benefit, or excuse me, I should say the amount of sleep which allows you to function optimally, and endeavor to get that every single 24 hours, even if that means getting it in multiple blocks, and when you don't get it, you want to make up for it. Because the people who regard sleep as, yeah, it's really important, but, whatever, I have to do shit, and then they sleep 4 hours a night, they pay for that. Indeed, there's even research showing that net productivity ends up being about the same due to reduced productivity when folks are awake, but that's getting somewhat into the weeds. Broad recommendation, figure out how much sleep you need, get that as consistently as you can, and when you can't get it, make up for it if possible. And if you really feel like that's not possible, figure out why you think that is the case and make changes wherever you can, because this is a very serious issue of basic self-care. Finally, this might be, this is up there with sleep. One of the two is most important. This might be the most important: attitude. It's really interesting to me that in the context of cutting, folks are typically highly motivated and very focused. Every rep is important. They think they're going to lose muscle anyway, so they really got to push it. But then in the context of bulking, they get really lazy and they think, okay, and this, I'm not saying this is everyone, and I'm not saying that this is you in particular as an individual viewing this, but I think it's common for people to say, okay, I'm in a surplus, just stuff myself with food and kind of train, and like the surplus is going to do it. And they think, oh, you can't gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. It's just like as if it's saying, I drew this guy a square and it was a circle. That's not what we're talking about in the case of gaining muscle and losing fat at the same time. So first of all, be very committed to what you're doing in terms of diet and training. Be very committed to it being successful, and don't tell yourself, well, this is going to fail. You can't gain muscle, can't lose fat at the same time. It's impossible, because I think at the very least you are drastically increasing the likelihood that you will fail in doing this. So start with an emotional commitment to success. Combine that with all of the more cut and dry recommendations I've given up to this point. And I think that if you're in a position to recomp in the first place, that will increase your likelihood. The recommendations I've given here will increase the likelihood of you being successful with that. So there's the video. Not under 5 minutes, but I didn't say it would be. Thanks so much for your time. If you found this valuable, please hit the like button. Please share the video with someone who you think might benefit from it. Please like the Lifting for Life Facebook page. Please feel free to, in fact, I encourage you to ask questions for future videos or on the topic of this video in the comment section below. Thank you so much for your time. Hugely appreciative of your support. And the next video I put up tomorrow night will not be on the topic of recomping.